So Larry, what is the Beef InfoXchange?
Okay, the Beef InfoXchange is an information exchange system where value data is associated to the CCIA tag. It's all about value, it's not about traceability. It's part of the Canadian Beef Advantage, which is the branding of Canadian beef and genetics on a global and a domestic basis. The idea being is we've got this mandated traceability tag that the CCIA is in charge of. We think that there's a way to attach all of the value information on the animal as it goes through the supply chain from the cow-calf to the feedlot to the packing plant, to upload information linked to that tag to a central database, so that anybody who has that CCIA tag number registered in their BICS account can access required information plus a whole host of optional information that each player along the way that has that animal in their possession uploads to the database.
So who benefits from the information?
Hopefully,
the consumer?
Well, everybody pretty much in the whole chain, because in time, and the way we've built BICS is that in time, if I'm looking to hit a specific market, the signals can be sent into the system to connect the dots to find the product to meet that end market. For instance, if the consumer wants product derived from an on-farm food safety program, like verified beef production, they could send the query to either their processor supplier, or in time they could become members of BICS and send the query directly to our program administrator, and therein, with what other specs they want to put on their black baldy cattle or what have you, that we could, with it behind the scenes in a confidential manner, run a report on that database, and anybody with animals in their BICS inventory that match the spec that's being looked for will be sent the contact information of the person launching the query. Let's say it's a restaurant chain or a grocer or a packer or a buyer or a feedlot. Right?
So when you talk to producers, whether it's ranchers or feed yard operators about this, what's the reaction? Are they positive about it? Are they excited? Or are they skeptical?
Well, the ones that I speak to generally are very proactive and very excited about the prospects of it once they get to understand what it's about. First off, you have to dispel the myth that we're anything to do with traceability. We aren't. We're all about adding some value to this ear tag and moving value information around the chain. When they get to understand that the story that it equates to is that how can you expect a primary producer of, say, a widget for a power seat out of a small parts plant in Ontario, supplying with that widget to a broker who in turn sells it to Toyota and all these other guys? How do you expect that primary widget producer to improve his product, make more money, when he has no intel on what is going on further down the line with his product, right? And so that's the edict really also behind the Canadian Beef Advantage program, is to increase the efficiencies and the overall quality of Canadian beef product by enabling that kind of information to flow all the way back down.
So there is feedback mechanisms to the producers.
Indeed, yes.
So is there any other countries that have this kind of system in place?
Not to the level that we're doing it on a national level. Australia has one, and I believe it's mandated, and it doesn't collect the type of value information that we're going with. It's quite robust what we're looking to build into this program.
Okay, so you said 2 years, or is that going to be fully operational then?
We're still in the development stage. We've been 2 years in the development and beta testing. We worked with about a dozen ranchers and a couple of feedlot operators, veterinarians, and seed stock producers to build this thing, test it. That's taken a long time. We've been back and forth. It's quite a complicated thing to do. Now we move to phase 1 launch to cow-calf producers. When we get that underway and it's rolling forward, we have shifted gears now. The development for the cow-calf industry is underway. We're now switched gears. We're moving into linking up, creating the linkage, IT, basically software linkage for feedlots, and to get the packer data in. The packer data is going to be, for the most part, from the larger packers, under AAFC, Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada funding through the AgriFlex program, to develop and bring forward BICS. We'll be leasing the E+V carcass instrument grading and analysis equipment, and placing that in the larger plants and most of the medium-sized plants across Canada. That process will take over the next year and a half, 2 years to get that complete. But by the time it is complete, we think that about 95% of the federal kill in Canada, very specific carcass information linked to the CCIA ear tag number will be coming into the BICS.
So are the buyers of Canadian beef, are they excited about this program?
Some of them are, yeah. We've been working directly with some of the buyers. There is some resistance from the auction and marketing side of things. I think that once they get to understand that the program can help them in their efforts to help their customers market cattle.
So why would auction marts be against something like this?
In one facet, you could view it as a way, because it's all about improving communications up and down the line. I ostensibly, as a feedlot operator, let's say, I'm looking for a specific type of cattle that have been given a specific type of products, vaccines or what have you, or have not had antibiotics, let's say, and they can launch a query in the system, and the system itself can enable the end user, the primary producer, to get in touch with that. So there is some resistance from the fact that it improves this direct communication.
How about the restaurant and grocery trade?
We're just starting to talk to that. I can't say too much, but there is some stuff on the horizon that's fairly exciting that will come. But
okay.
It's nothing's confirmed at this time.
Okay, cool, Larry. Well, we'll talk to you again soon in the future.
Thanks.